Welcome back, YouTubers, to another TNA Impact Wrestling review with us. You know who we are, guys. The British Fist.
Ka-ching.
Ka-ching indeed. Subscribe up above, like this video, comment any thoughts you have on this TNA Impact Wrestling show down in the comment section below.
Where you contact us, in the link in the description box below.
Indeed, I am Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me, well, he's not, he's not wearing a V-neck shirt like me. He's wearing a circular neck shirt because he's none other than NJ, people.
Okay, now going to this review. What's up?
Oh man, you tricked me there. You were fooling me there, brother. I thought you botched, but nah, NJ don't botch no more on this review. Anyway, going into Impact Wrestling tonight, we come off what was a very, I guess you could say, memorable pay-per-view in Slammiversary. And it's interesting that the first thing they promoted on the show was James Storm returning and the Bound for Glory series. And we also had another really good crowd tonight, which is making these live shows feel very, very good.
Hyping up the whole James Storm thing. Yes, it's a big thing for Slammiversary, but obviously with the future ideas of what could possibly happen to Storm, it kind of made you give the hint of what possibly going to happen between now and Bound for Glory. But other than that, he was the big attraction for now until then.
And of course, with the main, if James Storm is going to be in the main event of Bound for Glory, the biggest TNA pay-per-view of the year, then promoting him like that does kind of make sense in the long run because it is his return. He is one of TNA's big stars right now. We opened up the show, though, with an Ultimate X Division title match. You know, it's very rare we open up with a match, and to me, to have an X Division match open the show, which is generally nice, fast-paced action in an Ultimate X, even though it wasn't promoted ahead of time, it was a nice way to open the show. Something different to open up the show this week. Some X Division action, which I think a lot of people have been calling out for a long time now.
Well, look at this match, and it's a random X Division Championship match, which was, as I said many times in the past, when they do random stuff like this without a purpose or being mentioned in a previous show building up to this, it gets a bit of a bad mark from me. But with it being an important match, an attraction match, three wrestlers that obviously TNA are quite high on, I give the thumbs up for that.
We had Austin Aries versus Zima Iron versus Chris Sabin. That's pretty much all of TNA's X Division right now, you would say. I mean, the match itself wasn't the best. Basically, I think the problem was, I think Chris Sabin got injured and that kind of adjusted how the match had to go, which is why the match wasn't as good as it really should have been, in my opinion. But still a nice way to open up the show. Something different, X Division action.
Well, they actually have 4 X Divisions, like Samoa Joe, who faced Aries at Slammiversary, so they could have had him in this match. But think of him climbing up there to get that belt. I don't see it happening. But this match, for what it was, pretty nicely done, but it wasn't the most bam out there match X Division. But maybe Sabin was meant to have done more than he did, but overall it just weren't the best opener for the show.
Shame that Chris Sabin got injured, but it led us on to this next little segment where you had Austin Aries talking himself up on the mic, saying how he's proved himself since he's been in TNA. It's been a year since you saw him in that Destination X contract qualifying match, and it's amazing. It's amazing how far that guy has come, really, isn't it?
It's very true. He obviously wound it up. He actually got his points across about his time in TNA. His mic work skills are great. As we saw him with Buddy Ray. Him starting here, warm things up, knowing that he is a guy that is very good at what he does, and he deserves a lot more than what he's been given right now.
Yeah, and we get Hogan coming out. Basically, he starts putting himself over, but then he finally gets the point across when he says that Austin Aries is one of the best things he's seen in quite some time. So he's getting put over big time by the Hulkster, and Hogan says that he will book him in the main event of Destination X, but he'll need to forfeit his X Division title, and the decision on that from Austin Aries will come next week. And my God, Rude versus Aries at Destination X. Wow, what a main event that would be if it does happen. Bloody hell, I really want to see that.
Well, after Hogan's words, he actually did point him out as the best that he's seen in a really long time, making him seem like the big attraction. Because obviously putting him over, especially if he's going to go towards the main event, it is definitely what he needs. He needs to get seen as the main event now, not just as the best X Division they've got. And if it leads up to him versus Rude, we'll find out next week. It's a match that a lot of people should be paying to see because Aries can build up great and Bobby Roode can build as the strong and the longest reigning champion. So in a way, you're going to have a great match at the pay-per-view.
And it's all part of Austin Aries', I guess you could say, logical build, kind of putting him in that spot and like saying, you know, he could beat a Bobby Roode potentially. But I'm really looking forward to seeing that match.
Just the big thing is, because obviously Aries at this moment in time, that's why he to make the decision right now. It was thinking, do you really expect me to give up this X Division Championship for your offer. So in a way, he's actually shown that he's determined, he's connected to the X Division, he is the X Division. So in a way, I like the fact that he held on to it and didn't want to get the answer straight away because it makes the X Division still look important. But obviously, the best way for him to move upwards is, as he's the best they've got, is for him to surrender the title next week.
And to be honest with you, NJ, when you think of Austin Aries, you think of a guy that, you know, will be in the main event scene for TNA. And it was I think it was a bit of a dilemma for TNA. How are they going to get the title off him? And I think him forfeiting probably is the right way to go because then he doesn't have to lose to anyone. And I don't think he's good enough to lose to anyone in the X Division right now.
Well, as much as I would have agreed to that, they had two opponents who I thought could have been the replacement. They had Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Those two I could have seen, but with Sabin obviously leaving and Alex Shelley leaving and Sabin injury and not the right time, and they got this other big pay-per-view coming up, they had to do this was their last option.
Yeah, so in my opinion, real good main event for Destination X and possibly, we'll find out next week on Open Fight Night, I guess. Devon versus Hernandez for the TV title. Finally, nice to see someone new in the TV title picture after all this Robbie E crap, isn't it?
With Hernandez, he got that random thing at the Slammiversary, but giving him a reasoning on the next show afterwards, his build-up into this match was really nicely done. I actually do see him better on his own a bit more now. I know it's his second match on his own, but we're expecting to see a lot more from him, and I like this match.
Yeah, Devon retains in about 3.5 minutes. It was a standard TV title match, really. Not much else to really say about the segment, to be honest.
No, but I liked what it was.
Hernandez, we'll see where they go with Hernandez in the TV title here. One thing I did like about this show, NJ, was they showed all these little Slammiversary clips. Now, Slammiversary 2012, I think you'll agree, was packed full of special moments. So why not put all these through the show and show how nice of a pay-per-view that was and like how the moments they had? That's one thing I really liked about the show. It really followed on from that pay-per-view really nicely, in my opinion. A lot of good moments from that pay-per-view.
Well, with this being the show following the pay-per-view, I'm glad that they're still showing the wonderful things that have happened at the pay-per-view and then connecting on with this show, have a few follow-ons, and it was very nicely done. So I think for them to still show the quality of their pay-per-view was a nice follow-up.
And next up, we had what would potentially be building to the biggest pay-per-view of the year, the Bound for Glory series. The first gauntlet match for 20 points. Now, remember last year when they did the BFG series? I do look forward to the BFG series as it, builds up to Bound for Glory, periodically, week by week, the biggest pay-per-view of the year. It gets the build for it going started pretty early. We found out in this segment who I think 12 members were. You got AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Rob Van Dam, Magnus, Bully Ray, Kurt Angle, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Pope, James Storm, and Robbie E. Why is Robbie E in there and not a guy like Crimson? I just want to point that out.
That's the whole thing. I'm glad that, obviously, my main thing, the show after pay-per-views is a follow-up. And I'm glad they've done pretty good by following the majority of the wrestlers and knockouts in the show. But to have Robbie E in such an important match instead of Crimson, yes, he lost the undefeated streak, but this would be a perfect time for him to be frustrated, let his anger out, show so much quality on his own without the streak behind him anymore, and him to replace Robbie E. But I guess he's the one who's going to be at the bottom of the table by the end of this.
Yeah, he has to be the jobber of this, doesn't he? That's pretty the only reason that you have him in there. The gauntlet match was pretty much TNA's way of saying Battle Royal. All 12 guys got in there before there was an elimination, I think. We had the return of Pope, which is nice to see him in that Bound for Glory series. We had Abyss coming in and eliminating Bully Ray. Now, is Abyss part of this BFG series? Or it was nice to see Abyss again and get involved in this whole Bully Ray thing, even though technically Bully Ray didn't get eliminated because Bully Ray isn't part of them, because Abyss isn't part of the match.
I'm a bit questioning that, because if Abyss is a part of this, good for him, because obviously he's going to progress and do hopefully a bit better than what we did think he would do. But the elimination of Bully Ray, if Abyss was a part of this match, shouldn't he have got in the ring first? Because he was on the 8th when he eliminated him. Is that the best follow-up they're going to do from the pay-per-view? Yes, it stopped Bully Ray from getting the 20 points, but I expected a bit more from these two.
I thought it was a pretty good follow-up myself, but that's just my opinion. You had Daniels eliminating AJ after AJ accidentally hits Angle, this whole, them getting in the head thing, which we'll talk a little bit about later. And then you had, as the last person, because we thought this would definitely have to happen, James Storm is the last person that has that nice little face-off with Samoa Joe, and Storm wins with the last call. This match went on for, about 20 minutes? It had, 2 advert breaks, but I think it's very fair to say that with the potential Rude versus Storm match at Bound for Glory, which we predict will happen, James Storm is definitely the favourite to win this BFG series, isn't he?
Well, that's the thing. I look at this match, they got built up the ending right. They had Samoa Joe and Magnus having this little brawl thing, which was pretty strong, saying that our tag team's finished. We got bigger ideas now. Then him coming to the final with James Storm. You have a great wrestling Samoa Joe and James Storm. But with James Storm obviously being the last one out and the last one in the ring with Samoa Joe, it's pretty much set in stone who's going to win, who's going to get the 20 points. And the other point I want to make quickly is out of the Bound for Glory series stuff, the points in the past, I'm pretty sure they're about 7, 10 or something like that. So it had a better build-up. No one looked like they're more in the extreme thing. Because following this match, the match is probably going to be worth 10 or less points. And now someone's got 20. They're going to be in the lead for the next few... Probably no one's going to overtake him.
Well, it was a gauntlet match involving every single guy, so I guess that's why they had it worth double the points for this one. But as like I said, it was a nice way to introduce James Storm back on TV. He's going to be the favourite to win this BFG series, and I think that was made even more apparent by the fact that we had James Storm getting on the mic talking about how much, all the little break he had and about how much wrestling meant to his little girl and how much he missed the ring and how he wants to go after the championship again. You're kind of thinking to yourself, man, they're teasing Bound for Glory, Rude versus Storm, aren't they, really?
This was good mic work skills. He got straight to the point. He mentioned his time away, got straight to the thing and said, I really hope, Rude, you're the champion because I want to show you I can kick your ass. Sorry about your damn look. Got the crowd talking behind him again. Very nicely done. Got to the point. Gave us a warm-up, like we said at the opener of this, when they showed the video packaging and typed up Storm. And now this, I think they've really done a good job at giving Storm a welcome back and direction for what they need.
And I must admit, a lot of people will give the whole lockdown thing a lot of shit, but in my opinion, James Storm losing there makes me want to see him win the title that little bit more, which is why I'm really looking forward to seeing this match and why I'm foaming at the mouth, because I want to see James Storm win that title at Bound for Glory now.
As much as I want to see, because I think the way they're doing this is making me really want to see Storm as the champ, but I do agree that looking back at his last title win and the reign, it really makes me think, oh, they've given him the belt now. They've already had him against Rude. There really wasn't much to that, much excitement to that. But now they're doing it properly. I can, in a way, look past the mistake they made in the past and now concentrate on this.
It's a great thing about Bruce Pritchard's booking. He thinks long-term, whereas Vince Russo, like you saw from the first 2 episodes of Impact after Bound for Glory, thinks very short-term, even though that was Bruce Pritchard's first couple of shows, but we'll ignore that for now. So a nice return promo for James Storm, potentially setting up a big money-making Bound for Glory main event match between Rude and Storm, I guess, where Storm should win the belt. Open Fight Night is next weekend, Jay. They had this Bound for Glory series open call-out next week where they're going to have people in the Bound for Glory series calling each other out. That's a nice way of incorporating the Open Fight Night, especially with it live. A nice way of incorporating the Open Fight Night concept with the Bound for Glory series, in my opinion.
I'm going to say this. Compared to last month, they had, it interfered with the build to Slammiversary. But the fact they're doing it a bit different by combining the builds to the future pay-per-views as well as concentrate on the Open Fight Night, they're doing it right this time, and hopefully this won't affect the pay-per-view, and they're doing their job better this time around.
Next week, we're also going to get some kind of announcement from AJ and Dixie Carter. They say they want to tell everything. We also had a segment where where Angle was telling AJ, he's got to get it in his head that they're the tag champs, etc. So they had segments there during the show. They're building towards AJ and Dixie doing some kind of segment next week.
I do like the fact they're trying to hype up the next show. Normally they just go from show to show and show, but now they're actually doing what they used to, which was show what we're getting next week, getting us ready, pre-prepared. I do like that, and we've got big segments happening next week. Yeah, so we got a lot of hype for Open Fight Night. We got the whole Bound for Glory Open Fight Night thing. Now we've got this AJ segment, and in the next segment we also got another bit of hype for the Open Fight Night. Miss Teschmacher versus Madison Rayne. This was Miss Teschmacher's first match after she won the championship at Slammiversary. A big moment for her. She beat Madison Rayne pretty easily in about 3 minutes. The match was kind of average, but you kind of expect that with Madison Rayne in the freaking ring. Yeah, Madison Rayne versus Teschmacher, it made sense because she's a part of Gail Kim, but this match, it didn't thrill me much. The finish, yes, it gave the right person the finish, but not like, wow, she's a great champion, she's a great winner, but the result was the right thing. Yeah, pretty well. Brooke Teschmacher gets a very strong victory on her first match as the Knockouts champion. And they had this segment afterwards, which I believe was hyping up a knockout title match for Open Fight Night. You had Gail Kim interacting with Brooke Hogan, and it looks like the Knockouts title is going to be defended on Open Fight Night next week. Yeah, this segment, there really wasn't much to it. They had to pick Brooklyn somehow. Her speaking to the probably future challenger for Tess. And they really, it sounded like give her the night off, blah, 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 you're not here, whatever. But for the segment, it did hype up something coming up, so it did its job.
More, like I said, more hype for next week. Do you think Brooke Hogan will be doing the choices rather than her daddy?
Eventually, yeah.
She probably will, won't she? In our main event of the evening, we had Bobby Roode versus Mr. Anderson for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This match was hyped up from Slammiversary, where Mr. Anderson won the #1 contendership. Not really too much we can say about this match. It was a very standard TNA World Heavyweight Championship TV title main event. Roode gets the clean victory with a crossface. I'm so happy to see Roode get a fucking clean victory for once.
The clean victory was needed, and Anderson getting this chance. He was but pretty good in this match. The referee was pretty bad during this match. Too much fast count. So
Yeah.
they could have slipped up, and Anderson could have won quite simply. But clean victory, Roode retains, and it was done correctly.
Which is what he needed after what happened at Slammiversary, really.
But my question is now, is Anderson going to slip back down, or are they going to find him some feud? Because there's so many wrestlers now in this Bound for Glory series. Anderson's left on his own, so in a way I'm a bit like, uh-oh.
I mean, when TNA have a big roster like they do, sometimes guys like Anderson, Pope, for example, get left out of the mix. So we'll have to see what they do with him next, whether he's going to be involved in filler or actually have a feud. I mean, who really knows? But overall, pretty decent match. Roode retains clean, which is exactly what we needed to see from him. And then in our main event of the evening, we had a segment where they showed, it was basically about revolving around Sting's Hall of Fame segment, and obviously we know Sting is the first inductee into this TNA Hall of Fame. We did a topical video on this on Wednesday where we talked about our thoughts on it. That will be linked in the description box for you guys. Go check that out. They showed that same video package again. They had him in the ring saying about how he didn't win the title, but he still managed to kick Roode's ass, which is what he wanted to do. Talking about how important the Hall of Fame induction meant to him, and he actually put over the roster as well, saying there was a lot of other guys in there that deserved the spot, probably a lot more than him, like Jeff and Jerry, Jeff and Jerry Jarrett, who created the company, people like that.
It was a nice warm-up for Sting, saying what he needed to say, really hyping up. But the thing I didn't like about it, he rubbed in the fact that the last 3 weeks, including the pay-per-view, he's been taking out Roode, got a bit of the Roode pie, whatever he said. So that was a bit of a shame to hear, but obviously after all this thanking and that, the best was yet to come.
Oh yes, we had three unidentified guys who we don't know who they are started attacking Sting, and it's like, and I was legitimately thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on here? And that is a fucking good thing. When a wrestling company has me thinking, what the fuck is going on? Man, can't wait to see where they're going to go with this angle now.
It's got me really interested because with Sting wrapping up, it sounded like he was probably going to retire or probably say, I'm going to be leaving for a while, something like that. And very last minute when he could probably announce that, this happens. Now we're thinking, who are these three? What is it going to lead to? Is Sting going to wrestle again? And who's behind this? Because someone must have planned these three to come out and attack him. But that is the good thing about this show. It's getting us wanting to see the next future shows.
It really has. I mean, at the end of the show, there was a nice little cliffhanger at the end. You kind of wonder, they're going to do probably like the whole, we deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because we're wrestlers, we're current stars against the old guy or something. I don't really know where they're going with this. But hell, I want to see where they're going with this. I'll definitely watch the show next week because of this. So overall, NJ, I just want to quickly give my thoughts. I want to get them off my mind now. Very, very good show tonight. I really did think TNA not only put on a very entertaining show, they built the main event to the next pay-per-view in a good way. They started the Bound for Glory series. They got James Storm featured, which is good. They had the whole thing, they've built up Open Fight Night in a lot of ways next week. They had that whole angle to end the show. Some good matches in there. I mean, this was an A show for me. I'm sorry. This was a fantastic... I really did enjoy this show a lot this week. I'll give it an A.
There's a few parts of this show that I did slip up, but the majority of it worked perfectly. The concentration on this was on Bound for Glory, so I'm hoping that Destination X starts to come in sooner or later, just so they can show that as an important pay-per-view as well as the future. But overall, I was really satisfied with this. A lot of the show linked onto next week or even the future. Indeed.
So the TNA accomplished a lot in this show, and it's a really, really great impact to follow what was a very memorable pay-per-view. So I'm happy with how things are going in TNA. I'm just glad to see that TNA are putting in a nice multi-layered show where there's multiple feuds and stuff, and there isn't much filler, and it's a very entertaining show right now, which is, I can't say, enough good things about TNA right now. Thank you very much, Bruce Pritchard, for all you've done.
And thank you for no Eric Young.
Yeah, and so I give the show an A. Post your thoughts and stuff down in that comment section. But we want to know your thoughts on this TNA. Are we overhyping it, or have we not hyped it enough? I don't know how we can hype it up anymore, but there we go. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below. NJ, do you want to provide us with an outro worthy of that main event angle we just got?
Thank you very much, people. This has been a video from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. Thank you very much for watching the show. TNA thanks you. We thank you. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Until next time, YouTubers. Goodbye.